We're in Nashville.
Nashville, Tennessee, baby.
I say we talk about like a third door, like a story that is a very unique way.
Maybe something that was a catalyst in our career.
Alliteration, that's beautiful.
What, today is May 25th, 2025.
10:41 Pacific.
Now looking back, a pivotal moment that was a catalyst in my career was the first time I came out to LA prior to actually moving to LA. It was August of 2020. And I remember I came out for a elopement. So I used to mainly focus on wedding filmmaking, make a living in this. And then now, as you know, we've shifted into like a very talent-focused, social media-driven role, which I love. But at that point, I came out here to LA and I remember having a day free prior to the elopement. And so I reached out to like 15 people on Instagram. I got one person who hit me back and they were like, come on set. This person was and still is an extremely talented DP in the music video world, but now recently he's gone on to work with Tyler Perry a ton, which is crazy. His name's Taylor Randall. Love that man. Shout out to you for being a pivotal part of my career that you didn't know about it. Shout out.
I don't know you, but shout out for being a pivotal part in Luke's career.
So, but getting into it is, he told me to come on set and then I said, okay, sounds great, send me the address. He viewed it, never gave me the address. Being the delusional person I am, still viewed that as an invitation because he told me to come on set. And he had posted on his Instagram stories, on set today, and then just like showed random aspects of the set. I was very determined to figure out where this location was. And I saw a building, it looked like downtown LA, and I saw a number on the side of this building. So I Googled the number, and it was some produce market. And I was like, okay, that's the lead that I'm gonna go with. And I had a rental car for the weekend. I was staying in Laguna Beach. For those of you who don't know LA, that's like a hour and a half, 2 hour drive with like regular LA traffic. And I decided to just send it.
It's deep.
Deep. And I had no expectations. And I remember I drove to that location and then I just happened to stumble upon this sign that said crew parking. And I was like, okay, I'm here.
Ding, ding, ding.
Ding, ding, ding.
X marks the spot.
And I had never done, like, worked in anything outside of weddings at this point. And X marks the spot for sure. And so I pull into the crew parking. There was no parking spots left. So I just parked behind a car and I was like, it's gonna be okay.
Yeah, they're not going anywhere anytime soon.
They're not going anywhere anytime soon. I get out of my car, super confident, take all my gear, walk up to the security guard. I was like, I'm here. Taylor invited me to set because they were on this rooftop. And he walked up and they were like, all right, you're good to go. And so I walk up and take this elevator up to the rooftop. First thing, Taylor's like, yo, what's good, Luke? And he just like welcomes me to set and he's like, shoot whatever you want.
Like, have fun.
He says, have
Playground.
fun. Didn't even ask how I found the place. But the reason a moment like this was pivotal for me because it ended up being a music video that played for the VMAs live on television.
Fire.
And it was for MGK, Travis Barker, and Black Bear.
Low key, super low key.
And I didn't
Never
know
heard
that.
of him.
Never heard of him. And 45 minutes later, the next thing I knew, I was shooting behind the scenes when
So sick.
Kells walked up with Travis and Black Bear. And everybody just welcomed me to set. And it was crazy.
You're just meant to be there.
I was just meant to be there. And I could tell it was a super tight-knit group. And so this shoot goes for like 14 hours. And
were you there like from the start?
I was there
like,
from the start. Somehow I showed up right on time.
Did you bring like food? I mean, sure. Did they have any? Like, were you just?
I didn't even eat, bro.
I was gonna say.
I didn't even eat. Cause like.
You're in it.
I was in it. And I was doing photo and video.
Mm-hmm.
And I was so fired up that at the end of the night, after we wrapped, I had a conversation with Taylor and he finally was like, Luke, how the fuck did you find me?
Yeah.
And I explained it to him and he was like, that's the shit that's gonna get you far.
I love that. I love that.
And one thing I always like to do is to make people feel heard and seen.
Mm-hmm.
And so in the moments of downtime, instead of just focusing on the talent, I went around to each individual crew member and took a portrait of them.
I love that.
And then I personally sent it to them the same night.
Wow.
On Instagram and DM them a Dropbox link,
Wow.
each single person. And majority responded, and I still am pretty good friends with most of those people on the set today.
So sick.
And I flipped that edit same night too. I stayed up all night. There's a time and place to do this. I'm not promoting overworking yourself, but when there's certain opportunities,
you can feel it. You know when you're like,
it.
I should capitalize.
I should capitalize on this. And I did it. I sent it to Taylor, and he was like, "What the fuck?" And
that's so gangster.
Then I went and shot this elopement the next day. Backpedaling a little, Taylor asked me if I lived in LA. And I said, no, I was just visiting for the weekend. He's like, well, you should move to LA. And
you're like, yes, sir.
Yes, sir. And this was like a month before I ended up leaving my corporate job and moving randomly to LA. And fun fact, I actually met the connection on that set to the random roommates that I initially moved in with on LA a week later.
That's so, there's a lot, literally.
It was just all aligned. And you can't really make that shit up.
No.
And then they ended up using my behind the scenes as the official behind the scenes.
That's so sick.
Crazy. I don't think I realized in the moment how big that had of an impact on my like path and career. But it was the first time that it showed me why not me. Because I just showed up to the set.
You just did it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And at the time, like I'd never really worked with any notable talent. And all of a sudden I was shooting 3 really well-known musicians and artists. And then my things got used as the official shit. And it was crazy to me.
It's funny too, because I think when you do it once and you actually like are aware of it and recognize it, you're like, wait, I could do that with anything in life.
Right.
You're like, besides this guy from Instagram, you just pulled up and we're like, there isn't even a place to park. And you're
There
like,
wasn't even a place to park.
well, I'm still gonna get my ass on that door.
Yeah, exactly. You just gotta pay, like, make it happen. And
then you get rewarded. You got literally so many rewards for putting yourself in that.
Yeah.
For first, like, it is such a small world. Like, every interaction is important.
Dude.
Just treat everyone. Like how you're saying you want to take portraits of everyone and send them those links. It doesn't matter if they're a gaffer.
or a PA.
Like,
Or like,
we're all humans.
exactly. And like, I cultivated a relationship with MGK's photographer at the time. His name's Sam Cahill, and now Sam came out and was the director with MGK's Hulu documentary, Life in Pink, and then also now he directs all of Kels' music videos. You never know who you're talking to or who you're gonna become friends with. And I think recently I heard on an interview, and it relates to this, Samuel L. Jackson is the highest grossing actor of all time, said, you never know who is gonna come up and be your boss. And so you're always nice to, like you said, the PAs, the gaffers, or whoever it is. In my situation, none of these people knew who I was, but they were still nice to me. And I will never forget those moments because they were very vivid in my memory of like core memories of me coming up as a creator. And now I still have so much respect for those people, and now I work with them like peer to peer.
Yeah, that's what it is, peer to peer. Because I feel like it's fun too. Like now, just like all of the growth and transformation you had from like then to now, all the experiences, and the same things, all the amazing projects you get to do. When you see people in your shoes back then, and you know they have the work ethic and the drive, and they're just they just are gonna make it happen depending on what they want.
You can feel it.
Yeah, you're like, I want to help you. I would say for me, my transition just like from the start, figuring out, I knew what I didn't. Someone actually said this on something I was shooting 2 weeks ago. This founder that like, I don't know, like very inspiring, like same age as us, just very, very inspiring, like different industry, but like insanely successful with her career. And she said, I figured out all the things I didn't want to do, and that kind of directed me with the things that I did want to do. When I was in school, just classic business administration, just like following the, not really knowing what I wanted to do. I knew all the things I didn't want to do because I would just make sure I always had a job. I was like, I'm gonna do an internship here, internship there, just like go with the flow of it. And my like third door, the first like thing I did when I started filming was when I was at my finance internship, my sophomore year summer in Washington, DC. Because I was like, everyone was home for summer, and I was like, I'm not just sitting at home for the summer. Like, intuitively, I was like, I need to do something. I'm gonna figure out, like, I'm just gonna get a I applied to a bunch of finance internships, and the one I got was in Washington, D.C. And I was like, all right, I'm gonna go live in Washington, D.C. for the summer. And I sit down in a suit and tie for the first day at the internship, and I literally was like, I will do anything but this. And that was the first thing that I was like, it's not this. And then down the line, you know, more and more things. It's not this, it's not this. But so I picked up a camera just for fun. I literally went and bought, like, first paycheck I got, I went and bought like a Nikon D3400.
Hell yeah.
Or like an iPhone 6 is probably better than that camera. But like, it, you know, taught me all the basics of like ISO, aperture, shutter speed, just kind of like figuring it out. And it's funny because I would go on hikes every weekend and I would take pictures and videos of like trees in the grass and like butterflies. So it's funny the full circle dynamic of that, but I think the point is I just followed the gut feeling, and it was through doing the things I knew I didn't want to do, just like putting myself in the situations of like, well, I'm just gonna put myself in a room and see how it goes. When I got back to college the next year,
after DC,
after DC, after that summer there, with the school I went to, I couldn't apply to any like filming jobs.
Yeah.
Because like the alumni network, because I was in the business school. So I made a separate email and just like emailed them through there. And then I was like, well, I need a portfolio or something, because like I had no work. So I just like threw together a website with like 5 videos of like sorority recruitment events, and like me and my roommates adopted a dog, so like I had a video of that on there, and like just literally anything that I had, any work. And then I was like, I'm so not qualified for this at all. And I pull up to this internship, like the application. I show up to the interview in a suit and a tie.
No way.
And yeah, literally like suit and a tie, sit down.
Very not Hunter.
I'm like just being straight up. I'm not even like selling myself. I'm just like, hey, like I literally love filming and photography. Like I've been at it for like 6 months now, and like I will work my hardest as possible and like do anything to like serve you guys. So however that can work, I would love to work with you guys. And then the CEO comes in. It was a drag racing company. I don't know shit about cars. He comes in, the CEO comes in. He's like, I forget exactly how I worded it, but he was basically like, you got the job, and he was like, never wear a suit and a tie ever again. I was like, it's funny. It's a funny metaphor for me, like specifically, because I'm not a suit and a tie guy. But it was just funny, like the CEO of the company, he just, like the fact that he said that, I was like, I think I'm in the right spot. I was like, this feels way more aligned. So that was like the first, in terms of filming and photography, the first thing where I was like, just throwing myself in it, of like you said.
You felt some momentum.
Yeah.
And what was like you were saying, I liked that you said you knew that, oh, it's not this, or like you don't know until you know.
Yeah.
And what was the feeling that you had when you were like, oh, I think this is more me?
It's hard to put into words, like the feeling of that, but I feel like we are so, humans, we're so in tune with what feels right and doesn't feel right. And so tapping into that, I was able to, like, I wasn't say I was a very aware person back then. Like I was partying all the time. Like my nervous system was so dysregulated. Like I was more in a fight or flight state. So I think it was out of like survival defense coping mechanisms, go this way, as opposed to now being way more intentional of what I want to pursue, you know? It's like how with your YouTube channel, you're like very aware, this is what I want to build.
Yes.
You know? Whereas, you know, maybe a few years ago, it would be more like the goal would be different, the perspective would be different, so like you wouldn't be able to show up fully authentically, where you could you show up exactly as you are.
Thank you.
Like cameras on and off, you're literally the same human, you know?
I appreciate that. And I think what you were getting to, or at least what I was observing, was saying like, you'll know when you know, in a way, and it's hard to tangibly put it in, and I agree with that. Because it's like a feeling that you get inside your soul. You're like, it lights you on fire, and you're like, no, this is how I should put my energy into.
Yeah, and literally like every day there is like something like that you could do, and then it's like, it turns into this insane, whoa, like if I didn't do that, if you never did that, everything would be different.
Everything
would be different.
That moment literally changed the trajectory of my life. And it wasn't just that one singular moment, but it was everything compounding up to that moment. And then also the choices that we make after those types of moments. I think the cool thing is that we can always shift and adjust. Like, you have been very intentional with how you spend your time outside of how you make money. Like, you're an incredibly talented filmmaker, and you're a very genuine person to where like people are very comfortable with you. And with us working with talent, that's so important.
Yeah, the human aspect.
The human aspect. But then also seeing you now grow into yourself as a music producer has just been beautiful. And I think that's the cool thing about what we get to do in this life is that there's no one set path.
You're investing the time and energy up front, and then you get exponentially rewarded down the line.
Off camera, our boy Ricky Hofert.
Ricky God, on God. No cap.
The one and only. Just asked, what is your favorite part of yourself right now?
My favorite part about myself right now. Since the start of the year, I'm prioritizing like hanging with friends a lot more again. So I'd say my favorite part is literally just getting back to that. Like, actually, it's the most important thing. Like, nothing else really matters if like you're not prioritizing friends and fam and all that. So I would say that.
I agree. I love that. And I think there's seasons of life to everything. And it's cool to like always come back to the things that the whole point of life is about. One thing that I've really recently loved about myself is I've been able to genuinely show up as myself to new people in my life, my friends, family, whoever it is, clients. And I've seen the most growth actively in the past 4 or 5 months by just doing that. Even if it's uncomfortable for me, because it doesn't come naturally. It's been so worth it and so much more fulfilling in daily life.
I think that's a wrap.
That's a wrap.
Love you, doggy.
Appreciate you. Love you, brother.
Ski!
Ski!